So apologies if this is a little too basic or too advanced. If you still have questions, just put it in the comment section. But as I will reveal, it's not clear we can get answers. So house cleaning, please give the other channel, Examining Kubrick, a chance. Please consider supporting the channel if you can. So what is the controversy? Well, a major dilemma with, quote, anti-Scientology, whatever that now means, is the role of Karen and Jeff, and even knowing who they are. So on the surface, seems pretty plain. Karen was disillusioned with Scientology. She left the church, became a very strong critic. Jeffrey is a little bit more weird. He was an anti-Scientology protester in the 2000s, then became a PI. Both of them are now married, and they seem to be, yes, eccentric critics of Scientology, but they give consistent criticisms of Hubbard, of Miscavige, of many scandals, so on and so forth. So it seems like nothing to see here, but then we have people like Mango, Scott Kramer, Corey, and many other people who have very, very bad experiences with Karen and Jeffrey, and if they challenge Karen and or Jeffrey on various things, consistent pattern of being vilified and attacked, and they try to destroy credibility of those critics. So here we're going to look at Doug and his very bad encounter with Karen in 2017, and he provides receipts via messages. Now, as Doug says, there are really two controversies here, namely that Karen is still, quote, a practicing Scientologist, but is not being honest about that. He doesn't really care too much about that issue. It's more the manipulation and control of information, especially secretly with a lot of people. Karen still runs, as far as I know, the Outer Banks. That was a very vibrant online community where ex Scientologists and anti Scientologists went to, but it does seem to have a very elitist pattern. And as he says, Karen had a very consistent record of trying to silence people, get people out of the Outer Banks if they stepped out of line. Well, what is it that they did that they stepped out of line? And it's very weird and very curious. So now we're going to hear, and again, I want to forewarn, I do think we're entering murky territory with using this kind of information. So, forewarning, this is getting us into some very ugly territory. So, essentially, that is Corey recording Karen.
And, I've had enemies. We all develop enemies when we're number one. But these three, but nobody believes them because they're so. Virginia has a huge post on me that I would.
And Corey was never in Scientology, but he became a very vigorous anti-Scientology activist. But at this moment, he is gone. Now, I want to stress, no one is saying Corey is dead. It seems that Corey has retired or is very much in the deep background. He's become disillusioned with the anti-Scientology cause because of people like Karen. I don't know if Karen is the sole reason, but she is a major reason that he decided no longer to be a, quote, anti-Scientology activist. As Karen herself says, she considers herself number one. She is the leader. Jeffrey is second in command. Mike Render, Aaron, and these other people are also in this very elite inner circle. And that is what it's about. That you need to take her orders, follow the tone of her advice, and carry out her specific instructions. And if you don't, you're considered a weird infiltrator, a mole, OSA. You're a crazy nutbag conspiracy theorist, a la Scott Kramer, so on and so forth. You cannot be trusted. You're saying all these weird things that Karen is tied to the CIA and British intelligence, so on and so forth, as well as Hubbard, and that is territory that is forbidden. She directly attacks Mike and Virginia McClary, who are very old guard critics. Now, again, I'm not necessarily agreeing with everything they say, but yes, they do go into some interesting conspiracy theories. Well, again, I'm open minded. If that's what they want to do, that is what they want to do. What is the issue? Well, again, because Karen knew Hubbard personally, so I guess she feels that she's being personally attacked because if Hubbard was possibly in the CIA, well, maybe she's in the CIA and cannot be trusted, and so on and so forth. Again, at this point, the dilemma keeps going back. Who are these people? Where do they come from? Again, on the surface, Karen is just an art dealer. Jeffrey is a PI. They have strange methods of attacking Scientology. In public, they do seem to consistently attack Scientology. But in private, we have this whole other universe where it seems they're still auditing, they're still supporting Scientology. They're even being promoted in official Scientology publications. So it's very, very strange, very, very odd. And we just have a consistent pattern of critics being silenced. They retire or they die. And again, we have to say this, they're possibly eliminated. So it's just a very, very disturbing pattern. And I'm not going to lie, there's a very strong parallel to this and the West Memphis 3 where it's the same thing. Certain victims and or suspects mysteriously disappear. We can't find anyone. And so when it comes time to corroborate or verify or even disconfirm key parts of stories by various accusers or various guilty parties, it's hard to say because the person is gone. Like Terry Hobbs, who is a prime suspect, he's gone. We can't find this man. And the same thing, many people who could be here to disconfirm or confirm Karen's story, they're just gone. We can't find them. And when we ask questions, it's just a very consistent pattern of accusations and attacks. So again, I don't want to start a new witch hunt. I'm not saying everyone connected to Karen is part of this very strange information network, but certain people definitely are, like Aaron and Mike Render. So at least some of the major channels and some major people in the movement, good or bad, are tied to Karen. And what they're up to is very not clear. So I suggest we just be very, very skeptical about those people and what they give us. Don't discount it. Some of what Render says is factual. Some of what Aaron says is factual. But again, we just now have many questions. And Karen just has a consistent pattern of not answering questions and vilifying if you even ask questions.